Hey, Nikki. Cheers.
Hey, Jeannine. Cheers to you. And cheers to everyone joining in today online. Thank you so much for joining us. Grab a glass of your favorite beverage and settle in and get ready because this is our happy hour. This is a series that Jeannine and I are doing where we will have an unscripted, uncensored discussion about what it's like, what it's really like to work behind the scenes in an online business and how we as busy moms, wives, business owners are making it work. So we're hoping you're going to enjoy it and stick with us through the series. So welcome and cheers to the audience. Cheers. Now, we're not living in the same place, Jeannine and I, and that's the beauty of online is that you get to meet people from, well, all over the country, all over the world, really. And we've both made some good friends through the online world, including each other. And we're hoping to meet some of you. So if you're tuning in, regardless if you're tuning in way later or right away, go ahead and throw things in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you have any questions. Just say hi. It would be great to hear from you. So in the meantime, Jeannine, I think we should start off by letting everyone know a little bit more about who we are and where we're from. So if you want to start by telling everybody, where you live and that kind of thing, that'd be great.
For sure. So my name is Jeannine and I'm a wife, a mom of 2 boys. We are actually on the last day of school. So school's out for summer. They're excited. I'm excited. We've lived in the prairies for, I would say, about 10 years. We were in Calgary for quite some time. I spent majority of my first career in Calgary. So I was a hairstylist for the majority of my life. And when I decided to leave that industry, I wore a couple hats. I was trying to find out where I fit. And I know you can relate, Nikki. You've worn a couple hats so far. It's going to be kind of fun to chat about what that's like, because really I was always just a hairstylist. And I remember I used to always say this, especially when I owned a business. I would always say, I don't like when people just say, oh, she's a hairstylist, like that's all she's good at. And that would bug me because I'm like, I'm not just a hairstylist. I want more. I had changed so much from my 20s to my 30s. Like I can't even comprehend how much change had happened in those 10 years. And I think every decade there is such a difference in the way we think, what we want, our priorities. And I had changed so much, and I really had to figure out and go on this hunt of where do I belong? Where do I fit? And how do I reinvent myself? So that really led me to today and where I am today and working online. I would have never thought, that I would be owning an online business. That wouldn't have ever been something, 10 years ago, 20 years ago that I would have imagined.
Oh, and I don't think you're alone. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't interrupt you. I don't think you're alone, Jeannine, because, you say that, and I have heard so many people, and I've felt that way. And it doesn't matter if you're a hairstylist or if you're a office administration person or a laborer or a construction worker or a nurse or a dentist or a hygienist or whatever it is. We all sort of, I think, want more. Yeah. Whether it's more from our career, more from our life, more from our family, more from our relationships. For me, it's more travel, more fun, more family time. For some people, it's other things. But you're right. That learning and growth that you experience through your 20s, 30s, 40s, and hopefully beyond that. Yeah. One thing I'm learning is that I thought at this age that I would have made it and be done, mm-hmm. But you never stop growing, hopefully, and you never stop learning. And that's what's so great about being able to find new things and get them going. But yeah, I can't wait to dive more into sort of how we got here and why we're here and all of that stuff in the future. So my kids are out of school also. Awesome. And my kids are a little older than yours. Mine are hitting those teenage years where we're dealing with driving and thinking about universities and what their careers are going to be. And it's pretty exciting, but it's pretty scary at the same time. And for me, it's nice to have a little bit more freedom. I don't have to, take care of them, so to speak. And I think that helps when you're getting to that age. But interestingly enough, you mentioned that you were from Calgary, Alberta, and I'm originally from Edmonton, Alberta. So, like, what a small world, right? And I ended up here in Ontario with my husband and kids. But, I'm an Alberta girl at heart. That's where I was born. That's where I was raised. And that's where I stayed until I met my husband, which I was, I think, almost 30 when I met him. So we met and started our lives together a little bit later than some do. And that's been a real benefit in a lot of ways. But in a lot of ways, it also makes it a little tougher because you're starting late, I guess, in life when it comes to mortgage payments and planning for retirement and all those things. So I mean, we have a lot in common, and we also have a lot of differences too, which is great. Absolutely cool. So what are some of the things that you and your family like to do for fun? Some of your interests, hobbies?
Well, I mean, we just like we're very like free flowing. So whatever the day has in store, I mean, I really like to get out and do stuff. I don't want to be trapped at all times in the house. So whether it's beach days or, just random adventures, I love the Forks. Things are starting to open up here again.
Yeah.
And it's almost hard to connect with these outings because it's been 2 years. It feels like forever that we've done anything. So I'm really looking forward to like going with the flow and going, oh, it's a beautiful day. Let's go to the beach, right? Let's explore. Let's do things because it's felt like we've been kind of in four walls for way too long.
Yeah. And I think, pretty much everyone in the world can relate to that right now. Here in Ontario, we're just starting to open up patios. Most things are still closed. My kids were at home schooling for pretty much the entire year again. Yeah. Which for teenagers is difficult because, they're in high school now, and high school, at least for me, was some of the best years of my life because that's when you have a job. My son has a job, so he's got a little bit of money. He's got a little bit of freedom because he's got a car to drive. He's making friends. He's meeting girls. He's wanting to get out and do things with his friends. And he's got the freedom to do that because you don't have those responsibilities, those bills to pay, all of that. And here they are stuck at home with their parents. And luckily for them, they have the internet because when I was in high school, we didn't have that. When I was in high school, I was on the corded phone attached to the wall. Now I'm dating myself, people, but I was on the corded phone attached to the wall. And my mom was screaming at me to get off the phone because I've been on the phone for 4 hours. And of course, the phone rang busy because this was even before call waiting. So, when you think about the difference in the world, it's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't you, Nikki, why don't you share a little bit about your life?
Oh, my life. Well, my life is a little bit longer than yours, but I'll try to condense.
Nikki, I've packed a lot in these 35 years. Let me tell you.
I bet you have. Okay, my life. So in a nutshell, as I said, I grew up and was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta, and loved it. Graduated high school, planned to become a lawyer, actually, registered in university, all those things. And then I got a summer job at the railway and the money was just too good. So I decided to move out, start my life, and stay with the railway. I always thought I'd go back to school. Of course, I never did. I went back to night school and I got my human resources later, but I never obviously became a lawyer. But I had such good times, and I thought I would retire from that job because that was, good pension, good pay, good benefits, a decent job. And I really thought I'd be there forever. But when I started traveling and doing some training for the railway, I ended up here in Ontario, and that's how I met my husband. And I mean, love is love. So,
Love rules.
we didn't meet when we were young. So I knew, sometimes you find someone or something and your gut just tells you this is the right time for me. This is what I need to do. So as crazy as it sounds, I packed up my life and I moved to Ontario, and we weren't engaged or married or anything. In fact, we didn't even know each other that well because we had been dating long distance, and it's not the same, it's not the same as when you're in the same place. So I took a big risk, took a big gamble. It panned out. We're still married. We have a great life, great kids, and I love him very much. He became a firefighter, and I did, mostly human resources, and then some health and safety consulting. And then I did some sales, and I was in direct sales for a while. I'm very good at it. But most of those positions either ended not through my choice because the company decided it was time to end them, or I needed to change my life. So it was the wrong hours, or, as you have kids, things change, priorities change, the way you're able to work change. Putting in 60, 70 hours a week doesn't work when you have small children, babies. It just doesn't. So I made a lot of changes in my life. And this last time I lost my job unexpectedly because of COVID, and ended up finding this online business, and it's the best thing that could have ever happened. So, if I have one message for people about life, it would be whatever's happening is probably happening for a reason. And even though it feels devastating at the moment, you know, that old saying, one door closes, another one opens, you got to really hold on to that, because the storm doesn't last forever. And if you can get through to the other side, there's a lot of good things that can happen. And, I've found that repeatedly in my life, and I know so have you.
Yeah.
And so, now here we are. We live in a small town in Ontario, and it's nestled between Windsor and London. And most people, I had never heard of it when I moved here. Actually, it was Chatham I originally moved to. And now everyone knows it, because when they did the Canada Monopoly, Chatham ended up becoming the boardwalk.
Oh, nice.
Because it was an online vote thing, right?
Yeah.
So you would assume that on the Canada Monopoly, a boardwalk or Park Place, one of those, you would assume it would be Toronto or Ottawa, or Vancouver, something like that. Nope, it's Chatham. Nobody ever heard of. Anyway, so we're here in this little town. We live in a beautiful home in the trees, and our thing is travel. We long to retire and travel in an RV. So, anyone who knows me knows that that's what we do, and that's what we want to do. And we're just sort of hanging in, waiting for the kids to finish school, decide what they want to do, get on their way, so we can send them off and start with the next part of our lives. So pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome. So, we've been talking, I think, for just about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know that we could probably sit here for hours and hours.
All day.
But we talked about the fact that we need to keep this for you, the viewers, probably 15 minutes or 20 minutes at most.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate you tuning in, and we really want you to come back, because this series, we're going to cover topics like why we're here, how we ended up here, what our lives looked like before and after, what's better, what's maybe not better, and then maybe some nitty gritty about sort of behind the scenes of the online world, and how you can do different things to maximize your business, your advertising, whether it's this one or another one. So I think it'll be really good for people. And, we'll encourage people to ask questions, and we'll try to answer them. And I think the more we do this and the more people get to know us, the more we'll be able to open up and get down to the meat and potatoes.
Yes, absolutely. It was a blast today, Nikki.
It really was. And, it's nice to get to know each other a little bit better too, through this. And I can't wait to tell the story about how we met and what that's turned into. So you'll have to stay tuned to find out about that one, people. But hey, here's to happy hour.
Here's to happy hour.
Bye, everyone.